I'm now going to show you how to import an Excel file into Microsoft Access. I'm going to start with a blank database. I'm going to name it Purchase Orders. All right, and now I'm going to choose the option for External Data. And we have some different types of packages we can export from. I'm going to be using an Excel file, and we'll be using that a lot in the class. So let me choose Excel, and I'm going to find my file, which is in the in-class exercise file. And it is called Purchase Orders. And OK. All right, and so now let's notice a couple of things. First of all, I do want to have this box checked for my first row contains column headers. All right, and we can see that this is how it is organized. Looking along here, that the first line in each column is a column heading. We have a list of suppliers, order numbers, item numbers, etc. We'll just notice that if I uncheck this box, that it lists supplier as the first observation, which is clearly not right. Of course, you can look in the Excel file and make sure it's organized that way. I think that the way it's laid out here, it should be fairly obvious that yes, the first row is the column header, so we're going to want to make sure this box is checked. And just be really careful about that. Throughout the course, I notice a lot of times students, when they import, are not always mindful about whether this should be checked or not, and that has led to some problems after the table has been imported. All right, so clicking Next. Now I'm going to have the option to select the data type for each column. I can change the field names here if I want to. I'm not going to change any of them at this time, but I could. And I'm going to mostly leave this alone. If I were using a primary key, any of these fields as a primary key, I probably would index it, but mostly we're going to not index the files, only if we're using one of the columns as a primary key. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at these data types and see if we're going to leave them alone. If you look in the accompanying PowerPoint slide, you'll see that I have suggestions for the data types to use. Okay, and so we're going to leave this alone as short text. Order number, we're going to leave that alone as short text, and also item description, we're going to leave alone as short text. Item number, we will leave as we're going to change to short text. Now you may be wondering why I'm making item number as short text, and we could probably get away with leaving it as a number, but we are not treating these values numerically. They are just identifiers, and so we're really treating them more like text. We're not doing calculations with these item numbers. So it really acts more like a text field. All right, and then we're going to leave this alone at currency. So Access recognizes when we import in some fields, it goes ahead and makes some guesses as to our data type, and the dollar sign here suggests that this is currency, and we're going to leave that alone. Quantity, we're going to make a long integer. Cost per person, we'll leave alone at currency. And let's go ahead and scroll over. And so AP terms, we're going to make that a little bit smaller since we just have a couple of digits in those fields. And then order date and arrival date we'll leave as date with time fields. Now we're going to click Next, and we can let Access choose a primary key, or we can just say we're not going to use a primary key. And for this example, we won't need a primary key just to explore some data manipulations. So I'm going to leave this checked at no primary key, but just be aware that you can let Access add a primary key, or if you have one already included, you can dictate which column will be treated as the primary key. And let's go ahead and make this table purchase orders. So I'll use our naming convention, TBL purchase orders, and finish. Don't worry about saving the import steps at this point. I'm just going to say close. And now you can see here's my new table that I created. I'll double click on it. Also, when I created the database, it automatically puts in an empty table 1. I'm going to just close table 1 to make it go away. And here is my table purchase orders.